Chapter 16. After the death of Aaron's two sons, who died when they approached the Lord's presence, the Lord spoke to Moses and said to him,
"Tell your brother Aaron that he is not to come whenever he pleases into the sanctuary inside the veil, in front of the propitiatory on the ark. Otherwise, when I reveal myself in a cloud above the propitiatory, he will die. Only in this way may Aaron enter the sanctuary. He shall bring a young bullock for a sin offering and a ram for a holocaust. He shall wear the sacred linen tunic with the linen drawers next his flesh, gird himself with the linen sash, and put on the linen mitre. But since these vestments are sacred, he shall not put them on until he has first bathed his body in water. From the Israelite community, he shall receive 2 male goats for a sin offering and 1 ram for a holocaust. Aaron shall bring in the bullock, his sin offering, to atone for himself and for his household, taking the 2 male goats and setting them before the Lord at the entrance of the meeting tent. He shall cast lots to determine which one is for the Lord and which for Azazel. The goat that is determined by lot for the Lord, Aaron shall bring in and offer up as a sin offering. But the goat determined by lot for Azazel, he shall set alive before the Lord, so that with it he may make atonement by sending it off to Azazel in the desert. Thus shall Aaron offer up the bullock, his sin offering, to atone for himself and for his family. When he has slaughtered it, he shall take a censer full of glowing embers from the altar before the Lord, as well as a double handful of finely ground fragrant incense, and bringing them inside the veil. There before the Lord he shall put incense on the fire, so that a cloud of incense may cover the propitiatory over the commandments, else he will die. Taking some of the bullock's blood, he shall sprinkle it with his finger on the forepart of the propitiatory, and likewise sprinkle some of the blood with his finger 7 times in front of the propitiatory. Then he shall slaughter the people's sin offering goat, and bringing its blood inside the veil, he shall do with it as he did with the bullock's blood, sprinkling it on the propitiatory and before it. Thus he shall make atonement for the sanctuary because of all the sinful defilements and faults of the Israelites. He shall do the same for the meeting tent, which is set up among them in the midst of their uncleanness. No one else may be in the meeting tent from the time he enters the sanctuary to make atonement until he departs. When he has made atonement for himself and his household, as well as for the whole Israelite community, he shall come out to the altar before the Lord and make atonement for it also. Taking some of the bullock's and the goat's blood, he shall put it on the horns around the altar, and with his finger sprinkle some of the blood on it 7 times. Thus he shall render it clean and holy, purged of the defilements of the Israelites. When he has completed the atonement rite for the sanctuary, the meeting tent, and the altar, Aaron shall bring forward the live goat. Laying both hands on its head, he shall confess over it all the sinful faults and transgressions of the Israelites, and so put them on the goat's head. He shall then have it led into the desert by an attendant. Since the goat is to carry off their iniquities to an isolated region, it must be sent away into the desert. After Aaron has again gone into the meeting tent, he shall strip off and leave in the sanctuary the linen vestments he had put on when he entered there. After bathing his body with water in a sacred place, he shall put on his vestments, and then come out and offer his own and the people's holocaust, in atonement for himself and for the people, and also burn the fat of the sin offering on the altar. The man who has led away the goat for Azazel shall wash his garments and bathe his body in water. Only then may he enter the camp. The sin-offering bullock and goat whose blood was brought into the sanctuary to make atonement shall be taken outside the camp, where their hides and flesh and offal shall be burned up in the fire. The one who burns them shall wash his garments and bathe his body in water. Only then may he enter the camp. This shall be an everlasting ordinance for you. On the 10th day of the 7th month, every one of you, whether a native or a resident alien, shall mortify himself, and shall do no work, since on this day atonement is made for you to make you clean, so that you may be cleansed of all your sins before the Lord. By everlasting ordinance, it shall be a most solemn Sabbath for you, on which you must mortify yourselves. This atonement is to be made by the priest, who has been anointed and ordained to the priesthood in succession to his father. He shall wear the linen garments, the sacred vestments, and make atonement for the sacred sanctuary, the meeting tent, and the altar, as well as for the priests and all the people of the community. This then shall be an everlasting ordinance for you. Once a year atonement shall be made for all the sins of the Israelites.
Thus was it done as the Lord had commanded Moses. Chapter 17. The Lord said to Moses,
Speak to Aaron and his sons, as well as to all the Israelites, and tell them, this is what the Lord has commanded. Any Israelite who slaughters an ox or a sheep or a goat, whether in the camp or outside of it, without first bringing it to the entrance of the meeting tent to present it as an offering to the Lord in front of his dwelling, shall be judged guilty of bloodshed, and for this such a man shall be cut off from among his people. Therefore such sacrifices as they used to offer up in the open field the Israelites shall henceforth offer to the Lord, bringing them to the priest at the entrance of the meeting tent, and sacrificing them there as peace offerings to the Lord. The priest shall splash the blood on the altar of the Lord at the entrance of the meeting tent, and there burn the fat for an odor pleasing to the Lord. No longer shall they offer their sacrifices to the satyrs to whom they used to render their wanton worship. This shall be an everlasting ordinance for them and their descendants. Tell them, therefore, anyone, whether of the house of Israel or of the alien residing among them, who offers a holocaust or sacrifice without bringing it to the entrance of the meeting tent to offer it to the Lord, shall be cut off from his kinsmen. And if anyone, whether of the house of Israel or of the aliens residing among them, partakes of any blood, I will set myself against that one who partakes of blood, and will cut him off from among his people. Since the life of a living body is in its blood, I have made you put it on the altar, so that atonement may thereby be made for your own lives, because it is the blood as the seat of life that makes atonement. That is why I have told the Israelites, no one among you, not even a resident alien, may partake of blood. Anyone hunting, whether of the Israelites or of the aliens residing among them, who catches an animal or a bird that may be eaten, shall pour out its blood and cover it with earth. Since the life of every living body is its blood, I have told the Israelites, you shall not partake of the blood of any meat. Since the life of every living body is its blood, anyone who partakes of it shall be cut off. Everyone, whether a native or an alien, who eats of an animal that died of itself or was killed by a wild beast, shall wash his garments, bathe in water, and be unclean until evening, and then he will be clean. If he does not wash or does not bathe his body, he shall have the guilt to bear.
Chapter 18. The Lord said to Moses,
Speak to the Israelites and tell them, I, the Lord, am your God. You You shall not do as they do in the land of Egypt, where you once lived, nor shall you do as they do in the land of Canaan, where I am bringing you. Do not conform to their customs. My decrees you shall carry out, and my statutes you shall take care to follow. I, the Lord, am your God. Keep then my statutes and decrees, for the man who carries them out will find life through them. I am the Lord. None of you shall approach a close relative to have sexual intercourse with her. I am the Lord. You shall not disgrace your father by having intercourse with your mother. Besides, since she is your own mother, you shall not have intercourse with her. You shall not have intercourse with your father's wife, for that would be a disgrace to your father. You shall not have intercourse with your sister, your father's daughter, or your mother's daughter, whether she was born in your own household or born elsewhere. You shall not have intercourse with your son's daughter or with your daughter's daughter, for that would be a disgrace to your own family. You shall not have intercourse with the daughter whom your father's wife bore to him, since she too is your sister. You shall not have intercourse with your father's sister, since she is your father's relative. You shall not have intercourse with your mother's sister, since she is your mother's relative. You shall not disgrace your father's brother by being intimate with his wife, since she too is your aunt. You shall not have intercourse with your daughter-in-law. She is your son's wife, and therefore you shall not disgrace her. You shall not have intercourse with your brother's wife, for that would be a disgrace to your brother. You shall not have intercourse with a woman, and also with her daughter, nor shall you marry and have intercourse with her son's daughter or her daughter's daughter. This would be shameful, because they are related to her. While your wife is still living, you shall not marry your sister as her rival, for thus you would disgrace your first wife. You shall not approach a woman to have intercourse with her while she is unclean from menstruation. You shall not have carnal relations with your neighbor's wife, defiling yourself with her. You shall not offer any of your offspring to be immolated to Moloch, thus profaning the name of your God. I am the Lord. You shall not lie with a male as with a woman. Such a thing is an abomination. You shall not have carnal relations with an animal, defiling yourself with it. Nor shall a woman set herself in front of an animal to mate with it. Such things are abhorrent. Do not defile yourselves by any of these things by which the nations whom I am driving out of your way have defiled themselves. Because their land has become defiled, I am punishing it for its wickedness by making it vomit out its inhabitants. You, however, whether natives or resident aliens, must keep my statutes and decrees forbidding all such abominations by which the previous inhabitants defiled the land. Otherwise, the land will vomit you out also for having defiled it, just as it vomited out the nations before you. Everyone who does any of these abominations shall be cut off from among his people. Heed my charge then, not to defile yourselves by observing the abominable customs that have been observed before you. I, the Lord, am your God.
Chapter 19. The Lord said to Moses,
Speak to the whole Israelite community and tell them, Be holy, for I, the Lord your God, am holy. Revere your mother and father, and keep my Sabbaths. I, the Lord, am your God. Do not turn aside to idols, nor make molten gods for yourselves. I, the Lord, am your God. When you sacrifice your peace offering to the Lord, if you wish it to be acceptable, it must be eaten on the very day of your sacrifice, or on the following day. Whatever is left over until the third day shall be burned up in the fire. If any of it is eaten on the third day, the sacrifice will be unacceptable as refuse. Whoever eats of it then shall pay the penalty for having profaned what is sacred to the Lord. Such a one shall be cut off from his people. When you reap the harvest of your land, you shall not be so thorough that you reap the field to its very edge, nor shall you glean the stray ears of grain. Likewise, you shall not pick your vineyard bare, nor gather up the grapes that have fallen. These things you shall leave for the poor and the alien. I, the Lord, am your God. You shall not steal. You shall not lie or speak falsely to one another. You shall not swear falsely by my name, thus profaning the name of your God. I am the Lord. You shall not defraud or rob your neighbor. You shall not withhold overnight the wages of your day laborer. You shall not curse the deaf or put a stumbling block in front of the blind, but you shall fear your God. I am the Lord. You shall not act dishonestly in rendering judgment. Show neither partiality to the weak nor deference to the mighty, but judge your fellow men justly. You shall not go about spreading slander among your kinsmen, nor shall you stand by idly when your neighbor's life is at stake. I am the Lord. You shall not bear hatred for your brother in your heart, though you may have to reprove your fellow man. Do not incur sin because of him. Take no revenge and cherish no grudge against your fellow countrymen. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. I am the Lord. Keep my statutes. Do not breed any of your domestic animals with others of a different species. Do not sow a field of yours with two different kinds of seed. And do not put on a garment woven with two different kinds of thread. If a man has carnal relations with a female slave who has already been living with another man, but has not yet been redeemed or given her freedom, they shall be punished, but not put to death, because she is not free. The man, moreover, shall bring to the entrance of the meeting tent a ram as his guilt offering to the Lord. With this ram, the priest shall make atonement before the Lord for the sin he has committed, and it will be forgiven him. When you come into the land and plant any fruit tree there, first look upon its fruit as if it were uncircumcised. For 3 years, while its fruit remains uncircumcised, it may not be eaten. In the 4th year, however, all its fruit shall be sacred to the Lord as a thanksgiving feast to him. Not until the 5th year may you eat its fruit. Thus it will continue its yield for you. I, the Lord, am your God. Do not eat meat with the blood still in it. Do not practice divination or soothsaying. Do not clip your hair at the temples, nor trim the edges of your beard. Do not lacerate your bodies for the dead, and do not tattoo yourselves. I am the Lord. You shall not degrade your daughter by making a prostitute of her, else the land will become corrupt and full of lewdness. Keep my Sabbaths and reverence my sanctuary. I am the Lord. Do not go to mediums or consult fortune tellers, for you will be defiled by them. I, the Lord, am your God. Stand up in the presence of the aged and show respect for the old. Thus shall you fear your God. I am the Lord. When an alien resides with you in your land, do not molest him. You shall treat the alien who resides with you no differently than the natives born among you. Have the same love for him as for yourself, for you too were once aliens in the land of Egypt. I, the Lord, am your God. Do not act dishonestly in using measures of length or weight or capacity. You shall have a true scale and true weights, an honest ephah and an honest hin. I, the Lord, am your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt. Be careful then to observe all my statutes and decrees. I am the Lord.
Chapter 20. The Lord said to Moses,
Tell the Israelites, anyone, whether an Israelite or an alien residing in Israel, who gives any of his offspring to Moloch shall be put to death. Let his fellow citizens stone him. I myself will turn against such a man and cut him off from the body of his people. For in giving his offspring to Moloch, he has defiled my sanctuary and profaned my holy name. Even if his fellow citizens connive at such a man's crime of giving his offspring to Moloch and fail to put him to death, I myself will set my face against that man, and his family will cut off from their people both him and all who join him in his wanton worship of Moloch. Should anyone turn to mediums and fortune tellers and follow their wanton ways, I will turn against such a one and cut him off from his people. Sanctify yourselves then, and be holy, for I, the Lord your God, am holy. Be careful, therefore, to observe what I, the Lord, who make you holy, have prescribed. Anyone who curses his father or mother shall be put to death. Since he has cursed his father or mother, he has forfeited his life. If a man commits adultery with his neighbor's wife, both the adulterer and the adulteress shall be put to death. If a man disgraces his father by lying with his father's wife, both the man and his stepmother shall be put to death. They have forfeited their lives. If a man lies with his daughter-in-law, both of them shall be put to death. Since they have committed an abhorrent deed, they have forfeited their lives. If a man lies with a male as with a woman, both of them shall be put to death for their abominable deed. They have forfeited their lives. If a man marries a woman and her mother also, the man and the two women as well shall be burned to death for their shameful conduct, so that such shamefulness may not be found among you. If a man has carnal relations with an animal, the man shall be put to death, and the animal shall be slain. If a woman goes up to any animal to mate with it, the woman and the animal shall be slain. Let them both be put to death. Their lives are forfeit. If a man consummates marriage with his sister or his half-sister, they shall be publicly cut off from their people for this shameful deed. The man shall pay the penalty for having had intercourse with his own sister. If a man lies in sexual intercourse with a woman during her menstrual period, both of them shall be cut off from their people, because they have laid bare the flowing fountain of her blood. You shall not have intercourse with your mother's sister or your father's sister. Whoever does so shall pay the penalty of incest. If a man disgraces his uncle by having intercourse with his uncle's wife, the man and his aunt shall pay the penalty by dying childless. If a man marries his brother's wife and thus disgraces his brother, they shall be childless because of this incest. Be careful to observe all my statutes and all my decrees, otherwise the land where I am bringing you to dwell will vomit you out. Do not conform, therefore, to the customs of the nations, whom I am driving out of your way, because all these things that they have done have filled me with disgust for them. But to you I have said, their land shall be your possession, a land flowing with milk and honey. I am giving it to you as your own, I, the Lord your God, who have set you apart from the other nations. You too must set apart then the clean animals from the unclean, and the clean birds from the unclean, so that you may not be contaminated with the uncleanness of any beast or bird, or any swarming creature in the land that I have set apart for you. To me, therefore, you shall be sacred, for I, the Lord, am sacred, I, who have set you apart from the other nations to be my own. A man or a woman who acts as a medium or fortune teller shall be put to death by stoning. They have no one but themselves to blame for their death.